To play for Liverpool, you've got to be a special player. It's instilled in them by myself and the staff during the week. What's needed from them, trying to get them ready and up to the pitch that we require here to play in a red jersey. From the day they come in here, the big brother's eyes on them. Everybody's watching them, all the staff. And inside of a week or a few weeks, we know exactly his weaknesses and strengths and what he needs. Whether he needs a whip or he needs help by encouragement.
Bill Shankly, Shanks, football manager and football fan, Scot and Scouser, man of faith and passion, founder of the modern Liverpool. Shankly was born in Glenbuck, a little coal mining village about a mile from the Ayrshire-Lanarkshire border. As a player, he was a wing half of undentable courage and bottomless energy for Preston and Scotland. As a manager, he learned his job with Carlisle, Grimsby, Workington and Huddersfield. He was ready for bigger things when he joined Liverpool in December 1959. And Liverpool, a sleeping giant, was ready for Shankly. It was the start of a great love affair. The Anfield club then was adrift in the second division. But Shankly's unique way with mountains and men had an almost immediate effect. 3 years later, Liverpool won promotion. 2 years after that, they were league champions. And the following season, they were at Wembley for the FA Cup final.
Here we go into extra time in this 1965 Cup final. Leeds kicking off, and Leeds with Giles trying to find a way through, but it's Strong. Gathers the ball for Liverpool to Stevenson. This will be a test of stamina. This will be a test of the calibre and the courage of a side. Strong striding forward there, but not a good pass. Cut out quite easily by Hunter, but Hunter in turn gives it back to Strong. So Strong gets another chance towards the edge of the Leeds penalty area. He's balked a little bit there by Jack Charlton, but still gains possession to Willie Stevenson. A first-time shot that cannons off the left half. It's clipped back in by Callaghan, headed away though by Charlton, but it only comes to Chris Lawler, the right back for Liverpool, and Johansson gathers that one, but doesn't make much use of it because Tom Smith falls but still maintains control, gives it to Lawler. Lawler coming through again for Liverpool. This is again the pattern of the last few minutes of full time, to Strong, to Lawler right there in the penalty area, the right back there, pushing it forward but losing it to Giles, and Giles, almost a desperate pass there, tries to get Johansson going. A throw into Liverpool over on the far side, taken by Callaghan, back to Smith. Smith to Strong for Liverpool, but Strong, harried by two white shirts, gets it to Lawler with a neat kick over his head, finds the head of Hunt. Hunt to Stevenson. Stevenson with Byrne outside him, Byrne and Thompson both outside him. Stevenson still going on to the edge of the Leeds penalty area, pushing a nice ball through to Byrne. Byrne clipping it across the box area. Goal by Hunt! Liverpool have scored. Liverpool leading by a goal to nil. Now can Leeds pull this one back?
Yes, they could. Billy Bremner, the red-headed warrior around whom Don Revie was building a Leeds side that would rival Liverpool over the next 10 years, equalised just 6 minutes later.
Sprake inside the centre circle to Johansson. Johansson racing for the ball, and he races it too far ahead of himself, and the ball is taken comfortably by left full-back Byrne. Johansson has done quite a bit of that this afternoon. Now here's St John trying to turn the ball, and he does. It's hooked away by Hunter for a corner. Corner to Liverpool over the far side of the field. Johansson several times allowed the ball this afternoon to run away from his body before he really had it under control. Now it's Liverpool again taking the short corner, pushing it back to Byrne. Byrne along the ground, across the face of the goal, and Hunt very nearly got through to it, but it beat him, flashing just in front of him, and beat full-back Bell as well, behind for the corner, which Sprake will take. 5.5, nearly 6 minutes gone of the second period of extra time. 1 goal each. Hunt for Liverpool, Bremner for Leeds. Goal kicked by Sprake, headed on by Peacock. And he back again, upfield for Liverpool by Ron Yeats. Stevenson, Hunt. Hunt to wing up Peter Thompson. Thompson along the turf here at Wembley to Smith. Smith to Callaghan. And now it's Liverpool moving smoothly into the attack. If Callaghan can turn it, he does it, and it's a goal! St John 6.5 minutes gone of the second period of extra time, and Liverpool lead by 2-1. A well-taken goal by St John after a very fine move by most of the Liverpool forwards. A very smooth move along the lush turf here at Wembley, and so Liverpool lead by 2-1.
And that was the final score. It was Liverpool's Cup for the first time. Ian St John, centre forward and Merseyside folk hero, was the match winner. And later he talked with Brian Moore.
How did you first come to Liverpool, Ian?
Well, when I played for Motherwell and had the aspirations for coming to England, and I finally was put on a transfer list at my own request. And that very night, Bill Shankly came up from Liverpool and gave me the pressure talk, and the next day I went down to Liverpool and signed, you know.
What is Shankly pressure talk like?
Well, Liverpool were the greatest team in the world then, and they were only in the second division. They're the greatest training ground, they're the greatest crowd, they're the greatest everything. So how could I refuse?
And now you believe all this yourself?
Of course, yeah.
What influence has Bill Shankly had on your football life? You say he gave you the hard sell when he came to get you from Motherwell, but since then, since he's brought you to Anfield?
Well, Bill Shankly is so dedicated, you know. He makes every player and his staff dedicated. And if you're not, it's no use being at Liverpool.
When there is a difference of opinion, who has the last word, the players or Bill?
Bill.
The Cops seem to have taken you to their hearts even more than the rest of the Liverpool team. Why do you think this is?
According to what I hear and what I heard before I came down, the Cop love anybody who's a trier. So whatever else I am, I'm a trier. But when I came down at first, my very first game was against Everton, the other team in Liverpool. And I scored a hat-trick, which got me off on the right foot right away.
How do they make their appreciation of you felt? I mean, other than the chanting and cheering that we always hear, I mean, do you get requests from them for souvenirs or anything like this?
Big Ronnie had said there that I used to have hair like George Best, but everybody kept sending for locks of it, and this is what's left.
Do you get much fan mail?
Yes, yes. Most of the boys do. You get various requests. I mean, there's a lot of women have written to me want to call their babies after me, you see. Which is very embarrassing.
What do you say to them?
I've refused everybody, you know, along those lines.
Why is that, Ian?
Well, who wants a lot of Ian St John's running around at Liverpool?
The most memorable goal that you've ever scored?
I should think that would be in the cup final, of course.
When you won it against Leeds, the winner?
Oh, I couldn't believe that one out there. You know, it was like a dream coming true.
Liverpool won the First Division Championship again in 1966 with a side of steel and wit, cunning and charm. But it was 1971 before they reached the cup final again. Their opponents were Arsenal, managed by the urbane Bertie Mee, a side with their sights on the League and Cup double. Arsenal were already league champions, but their argument with Liverpool at Wembley was still undecided after 90 minutes. Peter Jones, Maurice Edelston and myself were in the commentary box.
Here the whistle goes. We're into half an hour of extra time with everything to play for in the 1971 Cup final as Eddie Kelly goes down that far side. Remember, Arsenal now playing from right to left as they were in the second half of normal time. Kelly moving it infield to Kennedy. Kennedy trying to find Kelly again with that 1-2, but it breaks loose to Lindsay, the left back for Liverpool, who sends a long one downfield to Highway. Highway running for it on that far side. McClintock just letting it run over the line for a throw-in which he's going to take himself. Most of the players now with their socks around their ankles, the sort of scene we see here at Wembley whenever there's extra time. We remember it last year with Leeds and Chelsea. Remember last year we didn't even get a result even at the end of the extra time. But there are shouts of good old Arsenal from that far side. They feel that perhaps they might just have the edge here, but Liverpool are going to deny them all the way if they can. Radford moving forward for Arsenal, turning it to Graham, who's played so well. Graham moving forward now, accelerating suddenly to Radford. Radford coming to his left, but it's taken away from him there by Lawler, and Smith comes away to finish the job. It breaks loose, however, doesn't go very far, and it's Arsenal still pressing forward with Simpson just below us on the Arsenal left. Simpson transferring it to his right foot. A long one downfield to try and find the head of Graham. Doesn't find the head of Graham, and it's Lawler gets it clear to Peter Thompson for Liverpool, moving it to his left to the far side as Highway comes streaking in from that left wing. Highway on the edge of the box, a chance here for Liverpool perhaps, and it's there! Steve Highway, the graduate, the man who burst on the football scene this season, is now surrounded by a whole horde of red shirts. Steve Highway makes it 1-0 for Liverpool. 1.5 minutes gone into extra time, and Steve Highway, of long hair, of short moustache, of lots of skills, has put Liverpool into the lead, a goal that could well be decisive. Liverpool 1, Arsenal 0.
But George Graham, a talented and perceptive forward and an Arsenal manager of the future, of course, had other ideas. He equalised for the North London club, and the game now was perfectly balanced.
And we make it that we've got 10 minutes plus injury time to go in a match that will have endured for a couple of hours within the space of 10 minutes' time. As again Radford goes out on that far corner flag. That's the Arsenal left to take this long throw. And again a little cluster of his colleagues on the near post from where the throw's taken. And here it comes, it is to that near post. The Liverpool men get it, there's an overhead kick, and it spins through to Clements from the overhead kick by, in fact, Peter Simpson, who'd come up out of defence. And Clements now, left-footed, clears downfield. That ball is breasted down there, brought down on the tummy by McNabb. McNabb now finding Armstrong. Armstrong jinking on the outside round Lindsay. He's got time to get the cross in. He tries to play one to the near post for the advanced George. Overplays the hand and the ball into the side netting. 9.5 minutes gone, a goal kick. Any comment, Brian?
Yes, it was a very nice little run along this near side then by George Armstrong for Arsenal, and one really looks to him in much the same way that one looked to Alan Ball in the extra period of the World Cup final back in 1966, the same light, very loosely built player.
And from the goal kick, Radford gets it, turns the ball in, feeds to George. George shoots, it's there! It's there! Charlie George!
Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1. The double for Arsenal, glum disappointment for Liverpool. But, talking with Maurice Edelston, Bill Shankly, as ever, was supremely optimistic.
We knew there'd be a transition period from the great team we had, which of course I think on its day was unbeatable. But the transition period has been quicker than most people thought. But during the transition, of course, we stayed in a high place and qualified for Europe all the time.
How much does Liverpool owe to that side of the mid-60s and late 60s?
It owes everything. It was built for a small sum of money. It was the means of Liverpool Football Club emerging as a team, as a club. It was also the means of Liverpool Football Club building up a stadium, which shall be equal to the best in the land.
But if I can keep on the theme of the team for the moment, Bill, you have now got an exciting crop of new young players. I'm talking about Highway and Hall and McLaughlin, Clements and so on. These are a great crop of youngsters that have come through, well, to an outsider like me looking in, a little bit quickly. Not for you, perhaps?
No. We've had these boys for a long time. They played in the second team championship up here, which is the Central League. And, of course, they've walked away with it the last 2 seasons. And although it be surprising to many people, it's not surprising to me.
And have you got more in the pipeline, other than those that have made first team this season?
Well, they're leading the Central League again for the 3rd successive season. And we have, I would say, another 5 players whom you've never heard of, but you will hear of.
And is there any one of those 5 that you'd like to name?
Well, it's difficult to say which would be the better of them, because, I mean, they're so young and they're all on a level. We have a boy called Webb, a full-back, who is just recovering from a broken leg. And I think that he one day is going to be another Jimmy Anfield. And we just recently signed a boy called Thompson, a Liverpool boy, 17-year-old. Now, I would say that he is a stone certainty to be a star.
Now, you've often said, Bill, and you're on record as saying this, that the Liverpool crowd are the best in the world. Do you still hold to that?
Well, they're the most knowledgeable crowd in the world. There isn't any doubt about that, and they're the fairest crowd in the world. And they've got no time for dirt. I mean, the goalkeepers that come here and the players that can play that come here, the reception that gets unbelievable. I mean, they make these goalkeepers into greater goalkeepers. Sometimes I feel as if they're doing wrong. You think they were kings when they're running up, instead of, you think they were playing for us and instead of playing against us. So this makes them unique, that although they can be boisterous and noisy and callous when necessary, they're very, very fair.
And they know their football, Bill?
Oh, know their football, you can't kid them.
Do you often get among them yourself and talk to them?
Well, I did from time to time. A few years ago, went into the Cup before the games. But I went in one day and I was standing in a crash bar and I was surrounded by a few, and one of them said, stand here, Bill, he says, you got a better view of the game from here. He thought I was going to watch the game from the Cup.
Well, John Webb didn't make it, but Phil Thompson went on to captain the club, to play for England, and then to join the Anfield coaching staff. And later that same year, in an interview with Alan Parry, Shankly compared the sides of the 60s and the 70s.
Well, the side of the 60s had strength, and cohesion. But I think we've got more players with flair in this team. I'm not saying it's a better team, but we've got more flair and individuals.
If you could transplant one quality from the Liverpool team of the 60s to your present side, what do you think that would be?
Possibly the cunning of St John and Milne. They had terrible cunning, and could see things before they happened. And, of course, consequently prevent them from happening. Milne especially, of course, nobody ever raved about him. Really, it was a wonderful player in the setup.
Do you think then that your present side is very different in its style, in its qualities from the Liverpool of the 60s?
Possibly we're trying at the moment to score more goals than they did. We're maybe throwing a little more people forward.
Do you think now then we're going to see a more exciting Liverpool this season, perhaps?
Well, the games we played at home with Manchester City and Man United, nobody could have seen better. They played like greyhounds and played football and could have scored double figures in both matches.
Liverpool were league champions again in 1973, and a little cherry on the cake, they also reached the final of the UEFA Cup. Their opponents were Borussia Mönchengladbach, and the first leg was at Anfield.
And the ball halfway inside the Borussia half, and this time there are cheers all round because Leinmeier, the referee, has given a free kick to Liverpool, and it's about 15 yards inside the Borussia half on the Liverpool right-hand side of the field. That is Tommy Smith to spot the ball up. Something like 45,000, I would say, here at Anfield tonight, as Smith takes the free kick, right-footed, high inside the area. Toshak goes up, uses his shoulders, says the referee, and gives a free kick to Borussia. This most experienced and talented West German side, said, I understand, to be West Germany's team of the future, they say. Champions in 1970 and 71, third in the table last year. A good side they are, but they trail tonight by a better side. That's Liverpool, as Hughes leaves the ball to Highway. Highway in the inside left position, turns it across the area. Clef may be in trouble, punches it in the air, comes to Hughes, belts it over the bar. Oh, and say everybody around me. That one went high into the crowd on the far side. Clef, a good goalkeeper, 2 international caps for West Germany, but really wasn't in any sort of trouble on that occasion. And there's Keegan himself at that moment, challenging for the ball. Small he may be, but he challenges for everything. But the ball breaks from him and there's cleared downfield, but only as far as Toshak, and Toshak turns it square. Then a good reverse ball from Cormac to this side to Highway. Highway controls it well. Good disciplined play there by Highway, and then reverses it to that far side of the area. Now there's Toshak again, on to Keegan, but Bertie Fuchs comes over with all the experience that some 41 caps have given him for West Germany, and clears his lines and comes down the line. The white shirts of Borussia in possession, turning it square to Netzer. Netzer inside the centre circle. A beautiful ball from Netzer, but beautifully read by Lindsay too, and he clears his lines downfield, and there goes Toshak and Bonhoff together. Bonhoff and Toshak both challenging. Ball goes over the line off Bonhoff's right boot. Toshak quite happy to do that because it's a corner to Liverpool on their left. Lindsay will take the corner. One change in each side, as I say, from the sides last night. Nikolic playing for Surau and John Toshak playing for Brian Hall. Just the 2 changes from the sides that started off last night. Corner to Liverpool then on their left, and it's taken by Keegan. It's a good one high inside the area. A chance for Liverpool, and it's there. Liverpool have scored, and it is in fact Larry Lloyd who has put Liverpool 3 goals up. Larry Lloyd, this great mountain of a man who goes up for set pieces, and there he is standing there with the tiny figure of Kevin Keegan. It was a beautiful corner by Keegan, and there was Lloyd leaping above them all, and he hammered that one home. I shouldn't think Clef saw that one. 16 and a half minutes gone into the second half. Liverpool lead by 3 goals to 0. The Kop wave their banners away to the right. Liverpool in the ascendancy now.
In fact, that 3-goal lead was reduced to 3-2 in the second leg. But Liverpool survived with determination to win their first European trophy. Bill Shankly could be properly magnanimous in defeat, but in victory he was at his splendid best. Shanks was a born philosopher, and here, in another talk with Alan Parry, he delivers some pearls of wisdom.
If there was no sense of humour in the world, and there was no funny men and no music and something else, I mean, the world would be a terrible, dull place. And if I have been born with a sense of humour which sometimes aggravates somebody because I catch them so quickly, when they open their mouth, I can shut them up right away with something funny. If I've got a sense of humour, I think that I should use it. Or if you've got a sense of humour, or anybody else, it brightens the world. If there was no sense of humour, we might as well be dead.
Whose sense of humour do you yourself admire? I mean, have you got any favourite comedians, for instance?
First and foremost, Bob Hope was a very funny man. Phil Silvers, Sergeant Bilko, I loved that. I mean, the mischievous and unbelievable stuff that he came away with was a tonic to me. And the comedians on the television, when they first started with their small, little, quite quick jokes, not long, drawn-out jokes. I mean, they were tremendous, you see.
Are there other things that you enjoy doing when you're away from football?
Yeah, I'm home now. I'm home giving a hand with the spring cleaning. I wish to God it was over, because my wife and I have been living in a sort of a workhouse for the last 2 weeks. And I like to go in the garden. I like my little granddaughters, spend all the time I can with them. They're really something for me.
I think you're quite interested in politics as well, aren't you?
I'm a socialist naturally, because I was a coal miner. I'm a socialist because I believe in socialism, but not to the extent that I'm bigoted and I think that should, you never can level people out. There never could be true socialism to start off with. I'm a socialist, but I must say that I've been disappointed in some of their policies in recent years. But that didn't alter my views. So I think that a man's politics really is himself. So my politics are myself. I try to help everybody I can. I don't try to hinder anybody. So that's my way of socialism. And if you are a good man and you can earn money, even if it's more than somebody else, I mean, I don't think that people should come along and steal that money off you.
I must say, when I've heard some of your speeches, I've always thought that Bill Shankly would make a good politician. Have you ever given it a moment's thought?
Well, I don't know if, you see, a politician can speak for an hour, and after an hour has been over, he said nothing. I would hope that if I spoke for an hour, I'd said something. The politicians have got a difficult job. You've heard the people being described as he's a man with two faces. Well, I think some of the politicians have got three faces.
What about music? Is that a love of yours?
Yeah, they're my radiogram there, and I've got the songs in there of Kenneth McKellar and Jim Reeves and Pat Boone and Moira Anderson and Harry Seacombe. And the funny thing about it, that most of them are hymns.
And a good sprinkling of Scots voices.
Scottish voices and hymns, yeah. And any music at all is something. I mean, I like music, yeah.
You're a religious man as well, then, are you?
I think that basically, yes, everybody's religious. I don't go to the church, but that's not to say that I don't believe. I mean, I've got more hymns and a bunch of records than possibly anybody in England.
Turning back to what I suppose is your number one religion, and that's football and Liverpool Football Club, is there anything at all about football that you dislike, that annoys you?
Well, I think the things that annoy me are more the newspaper critics, the people who go into the ground and the complimentary seats, the complimentary seats in the stand and the director's box as well. And they are the biggest critics in the game, and they get their tea and their whiskey for nothing. And the things I have heard them saying about the game is nobody's business. And if I had the means of giving out these tickets, none of the ones that I have seen in the place would get tickets.
Have you an ambition left, a footballing ambition left?
Well, I would like this season, if it was possible, to win the double, but certainly to win something, because that would be a great achievement after having won a double last season. Normally, when you win something, there's a recession, a setback, and if we won something in the successive seasons, like 44, 45, 46, we won something. The last season we won two things, and if we could win something again this season with a brand new team, that includes Tommy Smith and Callaghan, of course, who had a rebore, new engines put in them.
You'll probably bite my head off for saying this, but I can't imagine Anfield without Bill Shankly. But, I mean, it must cross your mind sometimes that one day you're going to have to retire from all this.
Oh, yes, there's no doubt about that. Maybe I'll be glad.
What would you most like to be remembered for when you do finally decide to call it a day? That
I've been basically honest in a game that is sometimes difficult to be honest. Sometimes you've got to tell a little white lie to get over a little troublesome period of time. I would like to think that I've put more into the game than I've taken out, and that I haven't cheated anybody. And I've been working for people, honestly, all along the line, for the people in Liverpool that go to Anfield, that I've been working for them to try and give them entertainment. I'd like to be recognised as that I gave everything I had honestly for them, and of course I hope that we've given them some entertainment, and I think we have done, really.
Back at Wembley in 1974, Liverpool faced Newcastle United, the Scousers against the Geordies, a battle of the Titans, with Newcastle's attack led by barnstorming, charismatic, high-scoring Malcolm MacDonald.
And again, Liverpool supporters in fine voice, but the ball with their opponents, Newcastle. It's Kennedy, inexperienced there, playing it forward, gets the ricochet, plays it forward again. Hibbett moves on it, lovely play by Smith to Hibbett again. A lovely ball in field from Hibbett to Smith, good play as the ball is set up for MacDonald, but it was carrying too much pace on it. But that's the kind of ball that he likes to dwell on.
And he hasn't had too many this afternoon, Morris. That's the first ball he's really had to chase where he's been given any sort of chance at all. And Newcastle must start trying to play those balls down through the gullies so that MacDonald can try to use his pace. But at the moment, I think Liverpool are really getting into this game and seem, from this second half, to have taken over and look more likely to score.
And winning a free kick, the infringement by Clark on Highway, the free kick played in, it's picked up there by the chest of Tommy Cassidy. Then out to the right where he finds Frank Clark. Clark, to me, looking a bit vulnerable on that far side. But the ball played up to the midfield, it's got in again where Moncur gets it as far as Smith. Smith, a very good player indeed, holds and finds Moncur, his captain. He leaves it to Hibbett. Hibbett turns it infield to Cassidy. Cassidy tries to win it, the ball played forward, but again the strong, stern, resolute player of Liverpool win it. And it's Lindsay feeding Callaghan, and Callaghan's got Keegan on his left. He's got Highway there too. He elects to go to Highway, and Highway has it, running up to the sideline of the 18-yard area. The ball turned back to Callaghan. Callaghan moving towards his own goal, looking for men, and he finds in fact support from the fullback, Tommy Smith. Smith a long ball out, changing the pivot of the attack again back to Highway. Highway on the Liverpool left, checks, turns on his right foot, gets the cross in. Toshak was there, beaten to it in the air by Pat Howard. And from the head of Howard, the ball going to Terry McDermott. From McDermott, a bad one, and it's Lindsay getting the cross in deep to the far post, where it's taken over there by Frank Clark and played for safety's sake into touch. But pressure from Liverpool. Highway with a throw, turns the throw back to Tommy Smith. Smith into the centre, the ball running through now, and a chance here, and that's it, without any doubt at all. And the man who scored it, of course, was at number 7. It was in fact Keegan, a beautiful hit, give him just a sharp moment in that box, and Liverpool lead by 1-0. But Newcastle still in the hunt as Hibbett turns a reverse ball out to the far side to MacDonald, and MacDonald comes thundering across the area, still holds, beats off a challenge, turns it to Hibbett. Hibbett plants it into the chest of Tommy Smith. The ball breaks, Hall chases it, and it's a couple of yards inside the Liverpool half. Alan Kennedy lets the ball roll into touch, takes it quickly himself, onto Hibbett. Not a good ball from Hibbett. Kennedy can't get the return ball, and Tommy Smith will take the throw, lays it back to Phil Thompson. Legs look as if they're going to break any minute, just like matchsticks, but what a great game Phil Thompson's had at the back against the challenge of Malcolm MacDonald, the big, strong MacDonald, the tall, spindly Thompson. Thompson's come off best so far. Clements coming out to the edge of the 18-yard area. His kick reaches the head of Toshak, and it goes on to Highway. A chance here for Highway, and it's there! Stephen Highway plants it in the back of the Newcastle net, and the FA Cup begins now to float down the Mersey. We're now ticking away into the last few minutes. It looks as if it's going to be Liverpool and Bill Shankly's day. Newcastle take the throw, on to Tommy Gibb. He tries an overhead kick, can't do so. Ball breaks again. A first-time kick by Bobby Moncur, up helping his attack. He might just as well now. Newcastle can throw everything, but here comes the break. Kevin Keegan accelerates down the left, turns the ball in field to Highway. Good reading there by Kennedy. Saves the day, because that was a 3-against-2 situation. Danger again. Kennedy read it well and turns the back to goalkeeper McFall. McFall clears his lines. The ball on the halfway line. Still Callaghan tussling. It turns it square to Brian Hall. Hall holds, turns the ball to his right to Toshak. Toshak halfway inside the Newcastle half. Begins to move forward, tall and strong looking. Turns it back to Tommy Smith. A lot of experience, Tommy Smith. sends a good ball out to his opposite number far side. That's to Lindsay. Lindsay holds, lays it down the line to Keegan. Keegan's got a challenge of Howard in front of him, turns back towards his own goal, parallel with the 18-yard area. Little feint flick with his right foot and then plays it over to this side. That's to Smith. Smith down the line to Hall. 1.5 minutes to go to the end of the 1974 Cup final. Smith goes down the line, a 1-2 there with Highway, and Smith's going in for a challenge, and there it is. There it is. Keegan has made it. Liverpool 3, Newcastle United 0, and Kevin Keegan has won the FA Cup for Liverpool. And now we have the scenes that are so traditional here, but still move every time you see them. It's Liverpool and Newcastle together. We have won the cup, they chant away to our left. A whole kaleidoscope of colour. The black and white stripes, the famous black and white stripes of Newcastle United. Bobby Moke walking away, the Newcastle captain on his own. The Liverpool players so pleased, and Bill Shankly still stands with his hands in his trouser pocket. I suppose he could say, well, what did you expect? We all thought, I'm certain, it would be a very tight game, and in the end Liverpool murdered them. 3-0 in a cup final is some score. And the band of the Royal Marines come on just to add to it, if you needed anything to add to it. The players are now swapping shirts. Young Alan Kennedy now has a red shirt. And away to our left, Evelyn Hughes going round every one of his players. Brian Hall looking about 12 years of age. The man who's played a blinder, looking really as if he just had Christmas and birthday all rolled into one. He really can't believe it. And this is the moment. Bill Shankly comes out and puts his arm around his captain, Evelyn Hughes. We've done it, he says. We've done it. Bill Shankly, 15 years at Anfield, a man who started from such humble beginnings, a man who won 2 league championships, and a man who now has done what he wanted, who's won the FA Cup. Evelyn Hughes walks to the edge of the red carpet. Behind him, Tommy Smith. Behind him, Steve Highway. Listen to the Liverpool support as they come up to receive the cup.
Shankly, Shankly, they shouted. A crowd and a man. They shared a common heartbeat. And then came the bombshell. In midsummer, at the peak of his career and popularity, Shanks announced his retirement.
Well, I always had in mind that one day maybe I'd be able to retire. I didn't know how old I would bloody be. But maybe I'd be able to, some morning when I woke up and say, by Christ, I'm going to lie in bed for another hour, you know. I didn't know whether I'd be 69 or 90, you know. And I wanted that opportunity. And I'm going to get that opportunity, and I'm going to see how it works. If there's many things I can do, I don't think I'll be bored.
You keep involved in football in some capacity?
Oh, well, yes. Oh, yes. I'm hoping that Reeve will come and ask me to pick his team. Yeah.
Whilst it's true to say that there's no one who is irreplaceable, you're going to leave such an enormous hole that any successor will have the most terrible job to follow you. What advice would you give, if possible, to any successor?
Well, I don't know, you see. I don't know who the successor will be. I mean, that would be wrong for me to say. I mean, you've got to wait and see. If I was going to a club, I wouldn't want anybody to try to tell me anything at all.
Have you anyone in your mind who you think would fill the bill without naming any names?
No, I can't think anybody's as good as Bill Shankly.
And no one, frankly, thought there could be. But Bob Paisley, Shankly's faithful right-hand man, a man steeped in the ways of Anfield, took the job on, and Liverpool climbed to even greater heights. But before we leave Bill Shankly, let's join him in a little stroll down memory lane, talking 6 years into retirement with Sue McGregor.
When I came to Liverpool from Huddersfield, where I had players like Law and Wilson. Now, Law and Wilson go down as two of the greatest players in the history of football. I had fantastic potential at Huddersfield, but it was a seller's market, which they eventually went, and I didn't want to be involved in that. But I came to Liverpool because of the potential. Now, in 51, Liverpool's chairman phoned me, and he said, Carlisle, would you like to come down and have an interview for the job? And I came. This was 8 years before I came here. And I went to the meeting with the directors, and the manager put his team in front of the board, and they scrutinised it, and they could change it. And I said, what am I manager of them? So I didn't get the job. However, they came down the slope at Huddersfield one day and offered me the job, which I took. I came here because of the potential, Sue, because I'd been here. And I knew it was like Glasgow. I mean, there were people are football mad. The character, the Merseyside people.
Liverpool was in the second division then.
Oh, yeah.
And I gather that the conditions at the grounds and behind the scenes for the players were really not very good at that point.
Well, I think that would have been the case in most of the grounds. Liverpool's was a little bit dilapidated because don't forget there was 6 years of war when nothing was done for anything. They had a poor team, to put it bluntly, because Huddersfield had beaten them about 18 months before I came. Huddersfield had beaten them 5-0 one day with 10 men. And I came here because of the people, because I knew there was a public for the game here.
Was there a moment when you thought, I'm now just beginning to build what I know is there, and I'm beginning to build the team of the future? Were there any particular purchases you made that were very significant in the early stages at Liverpool?
Yeah, the biggest purchases and the most important purchases for Liverpool were Ronnie Yeats and Ian St John. One from Dundee United and one from Motherwell. The prices were 30,000 and 37,500. And they came here at the beginning of the season, 61-2, which we won the second division. And that was they were the most crucial signings for Liverpool. Make no mistake about that. Later on, there was great signings too, of course, like Ray Clemens for 18,000, Kevin Keegan for 35,000. Peter Thompson for 32,000. Good God, Peter Thompson would playing now, it would be £10 million for him. He was a fantastic player.
I suppose by the middle 60s you'd built up a virtually unbeatable team. You've got a terrific team at Liverpool. And I wonder whether your training methods had a very great deal to do with it. There were other things too, which I'd like to ask you about in a moment. But the sheer method you had of building up strength in your players, I think was something that made you stand out from a lot of other managers.
Well, the training system was laid down as well. When I came here, the trainers were all here. Bob Paisley, who's now manager, Joe Fagan was here, Ruben Bennett, they're still there, and Ronnie Moran. Now, they were there long before I came. Now, normally a manager goes to new clubs who he takes his own men with him for safety's sake. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Well, I didn't, because I knew these men personally. I played against them. I said, I know something about the game and training as well, and we'll all work together. Well, I'll lay the system down, and that happened. I said, and then maybe one day we'll get the players we need. And that exactly happened. We laid the system down, we've got the players we need. So the training system's geared to play football, Sue, not to be a marathon runner or a sprinter. They're trained at Liverpool to play football, and they're trained to play collectively. And it was so simple that it was easy for people to grasp it.
You also believed very strongly in looking after your team in terms of their physical welfare, where they stayed, what they ate even, what they did before the match.
Oh, yeah. That had all to be done. To find out. All these things took time. We went to Europe. We found out things in Europe. We watched Inter Milan training. We watched all the teams training, Anderlecht. And we picked up something from everywhere. And then the diet and the eating before the game is very, very important. From the finished training, say, on a Friday to you play on Saturday, it's very important what you eat and what you do in that time with your energies. So we picked up all these details from all these clubs and put them all together. Like the hydrogen bomb, all the little particles were put together and woof, there was a big bomb. So we put all the little things together and made one big thing.
And the explosion was timed for 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon.
That's right. And the explosion was timed for it. And the psychology was used and all, I mean, about the opposition. And we didn't frighten our own team with talking about the opposition. No matter who they were, they weren't discussed at length at all. Some managers talk about players and they've got dossiers on them, and they frighten their own players. We didn't.
But you rather...
We dismissed them.
You rather believed in frightening the opposition, though.
Oh, yeah, frighten them if I could, yeah, but not my own players.
How did you... what were some of your techniques of doing that?
Well, I mean, I'll maybe see something in the paper or on the radio, if I get a chance, so as they could all hear it. When they come in the door, there's a plaque at Anfield, and it says, "This is Anfield," and it's quite frightening, you know. And I think it's got an effect on people. I'm not saying it has, but it... And I would say to our own players, I've just seen them coming in, and I think they've been out all night at a nightclub, you know. They don't look too good. they're fighting to death, or things like that. Now that was only for my own players. I didn't speak to the other players. Sometimes I would say to them, "Oh, the ground's very hard today," and it was soft, or it was vice versa.
You didn't think that was hitting below the belt a bit?
No, I wasn't cheating. No, I mean, I've got a saying, Sue, that I would hurt you to beat you, but I wouldn't cheat you.
You must have felt, when you were manager of Liverpool, very conscious of the fact that you were running a team that was perhaps the biggest thing in the lives of many people in this city.
Oh, yes, aware of that, Sue. I know that these people live for Liverpool Football Club, and it was that they spent all their money on Liverpool Football Club. I mean, at my front door, it's all paved. I used to have a little garden of grass, but it was too many people on it, and they were tramping on the grass, and so I've got it all paved. And I mean, thousands of people have been to this door since we came here. And these are the people I was working for. I don't mind them coming to the door. I don't mind them, because everything I did was for the people. And to make them proud, because this is their life. I mean, when the summer comes, they're all bored, because there's no football. They're waiting from one game to another. So I felt that they felt the same way as me. Now that's what you've got to think of. I was the manager. I picked the team. I did a lot of things in Liverpool. But they were more important than me, really, because they were the ones that paid the money.